Call this meeting to order.
Yes.
It is 6:05, Monday, June 11th, 2018. Welcome to the Regional Governing Board of the Southwest Vermont Regional Technical School District. Easy for some to say, not me apparently. Public comments. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have the minutes of the Regional Board full meeting of May 14, 2018. We have a motion.
So moved.
Rand motion, Ken second. Any discussion? Seeing none, raise your right hand, please. It's unanimous. Who's taking down the minutes, by the way?
We don't have Richard.
She must be just getting, I will do it for the moment.
Are we all set to move forward on that? Okay, thank you. Okay, payroll warrants, number 28, number 1049, number 29, number 1052, and number 1053. Motion, please.
I'll move it. Second.
Randy, motion, Ken, second. Discussion. Seeing none, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Vendor warrants, number 1050, number 1051. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Randy made a motion, Ken second. Discussion? Seeing none, raise your right hand, please. Unanimous. Attached, or in your inbox, is the cash flow and the revenue and expenses.
I was going to say one
I'm sorry.
thing, just for aesthetics, that the public need to know why all of us, we're going through these things so fast.
Yeah.
And it would be helpful to say that we've all had an opportunity to have them electronically sent to us, and we had a chance to go through them and review them at home, so that when we come to the meeting, we can be very efficient. And if we don't have any questions about it, or we had questions that might be asked, we did that ahead of time, so that we can move right along. And so every so often, we need to know, have people know that we've reviewed these documents and looked through them and how we did it.
Thank you, Glenn. Point well taken.
Yeah, we could also add, they are reviewed by some members of the board and signed off before they ever show up at a meeting for approval of the entire board.
Thank you, gentlemen. Committee reports, we don't have any other than one before this meeting, correct? Educational, Ed?
Yeah, the Education Facilities Committee met before this meeting. The report is basically simple. We've completed roof repairs, and we're updated on other repairs that are needed around the building, which are just routine maintenance items. We discussed the lease of the daycare facility, and that will appear on the rest of the agenda to be approved by the full board. And we had a discussion on lengthening our school day, and I'll leave it to the superintendent to explain that in his presentation. But the committee approved all of these items for recommended approval by the full board. That's a short summary of the Education Facilities Committee meeting.
I think we move right on to action items. We'll get to you under the...
I was going to say something about
Go ahead.
the meeting.
Yeah.
We met, the reason we hadn't had the policy meeting, we didn't have enough people in the previous meeting that we met to have an election of officers. And then we scheduled another one. We had policies that came to the board and so forth, and didn't have any action, and we didn't have enough people to want doing another meeting. But we have not had an opportunity to meet and select a chair of the people that you assign, and I want you to be aware of that. And so we hadn't had a meeting, and so we get a change. We have a change of guard. Bruce is leaving.
Right.
We having somebody else new come in, and yet we haven't had a chance to meet and go through the process or elect a chair for that committee
Do you,
since last time. That's why what I'm trying, the reason I'm saying it, I would love for somebody to start taking over some of these responsibilities along that line, and that's why I didn't just volunteer, just roll over.
Right.
And I'm saying, take a look at whoever you assign. I'm saying, hey, somebody else should be trying to run a subcommittee as opposed to the same person every year. And I'm offering that up, is what I'm trying to do.
I appreciate it. We look at you because you are the guru when it comes to policies. Can I ask Mike, could you set up an appointment? Would you have any issues with this month having a policy meeting, or would you like to go out into after July vacation, which means August?
I don't know.
Very early pending.
It's very difficult to get another one, get a meeting in
It is.
this month. For me, it is.
Yeah.
And so we will be in August, the Friday part of our meeting. We don't normally meet in July.
Let's plan on meeting an hour, at 5 o'clock, the night of August 13th or whatever it is.
But I mean, we can still, we didn't meet with what we were meeting is at 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay,
Or whatever along that line. I'm just saying, but if everybody else can meet, that you put on that list,
Right.
we can meet sooner than August, so that I would love for us to be able to meet with the new person and Bruce together before this month. I just don't know what day is available to everybody, because every time I set one, I can't get everybody.
Leon, I'm thinking off the top of my head that it may be a good time, the last week in June, to set up a meeting with both Bruce and potentially the new instructor. I'm just thinking about the school being out with students on the 22nd, and the activities that going that week. The following week is much quieter, people will still technically be here. It might be a good time to meet and not back up against a board meeting.
Sure. Okay, that's fine.
That would work. Someday that week could be the week of the 25th.
I'm going pretty much. I think I just meet with SBSU myself. That last week of June is bad.
Why don't I get with the instructor tomorrow and see potentially something the previous week.
Can you do next week? I mean, that's next week.
Next week.
I'm hoping on the 18th.
No, 11 through 15.
11 through 15.
Oh, that's what we're into. I'm sorry,
Yes.
18th through 22nd. My apologies.
So we got graduation on the,
Could set up something potentially Wednesday or Thursday.
yeah, we can do that this week. Good. I mean, but it's a matter of everybody else.
What's the date? I'm sorry. I was looking up the members of the policy committee besides you, Leon, it's Art, Rob, and me.
3 o'clock's gonna be tough for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not, it'd have to be 5.
Yeah. So that is one issue.
I have a question as long as we're on the subject of policy. To the extent that I'm wondering, how much do our policies deviate from what Mount Anthony?
A lot.
Okay,
The reason we split off is because we wanted to tailor the policies specifically to the career development activities along that line. And things that deal with students otherwise deals with SBSU, Arlington, Hoosick Falls, or wherever it is, Burberry.
okay.
Policies
Good.
that we put emphasis on are the ones that we teach and manage here and operate.
Thank you.
So, Leon asked if I will try to see if folks are available 20 or 21. If they're not, is there a next preference date in July, late July, early August? I mean,
Mount Anthony has one on the 20th, and they got something else on the 19th as well, both of those afternoons, so.
it's looking slim then.
Yeah, so we into the 21st. I can't do that the 22nd. That's almost it. And everybody can't be doing the day, we're all on that line, so. It's, and we're into July or August.
I mean, there are no pressing policy changes or additions. We certainly could wait till closer to when school started if that's easier for folks, when school restarts, I should say, in August. But it doesn't mean that we couldn't talk with the current instructor, the new instructor, and try to connect people over email or a small meeting or just something.
Go to meeting?
Yeah, there's lots of options, so.
Okay.
So what date did you pick?
We did.
We didn't. Looks like we're shooting for.
On the Education Committee meeting, I left out that we did not get to discuss ESP Memorandum of Agreement because we ran out of time, and I'll leave it to it's on our agenda to be approved tonight, and I'll leave it to the superintendent to cover that discussion.
We're heading into the action.
Me, huh?
I think so.
So the ESP Memorandum of Understanding, it is in the Dropbox, it should be in your packet, your paper packet. There's not a lot to discuss about this. We would be the last board to sign off on this. There was an error in language that was put into the ESP contract regarding healthcare benefits, coverages, deductibles, cost sharing, et cetera. It was just the wrong language. We've been operating under the correct language ever since the contract was ratified, but it was found that this language was not written as what was intended in negotiations. So every other school board has signed off on this, and so it's just us to sign off on again. It's just language changes regarding healthcare coverages for our ESP and support staff. But there's no financial impact. We've been operating under the correct terms of the agreement, just not if it was printed in the final version. So this is the update to that. That's all it is. It just needs to be signed by the board chair and authorized by the full board.
So I would recommend that we approve that these changes that took place, and there was an error that took place in the process of after negotiations and so forth, and preparing the documents to go out to everybody. Something got placed in the wrong spot. Something from somewhere got placed in the wrong area in the contract, and it wasn't supposed to have been.
Right.
Great motion, Leanne. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Franny, seconded. Any more discussion on this agreement? Seeing none, all raise your right hand. Agree? It's unanimous.
Okay, the daycare lease. There was a fair amount of discussion at the previous education facilities meeting regarding the extension of the daycare lease. The request of the committee was to have the current lease sent to our board, to your attorney, to be reviewed to make sure it was up to date with the current requirements to be a licensed daycare center, and also to insurance coverages, things like that. It's gone to the attorney. He has gone through it and made the recommended changes to be current with current law and practice and statute. And the committee, the Education Committee and Facilities Committee tonight voted to run this to the full board for approval. And so we're asking for the full board to approve this tonight. This is a two-year lease commencing on July 1 through 2020, excuse me.
You have a motion? So moved.
Second.
John made the motion, Ed second. Further discussion on daycare? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous.
Last thing, setting this 2018-19 school day. We spoke briefly about this, and I'll keep it brief. As you know, this board of the center operates as an independent regional school district, and under state statute, that is the equivalent of a public school district, supervisory union, and a school district in one. So this board functions the same as an SU. And under state statute, the school board of an SU or a district sets the hours of operation of the school day. you must meet state minimum, which is set by the state board, but this school board can set the maximum instructional day, if you will. And so what I'm asking is for the regional governing board to set our instructional day from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. Now, that does not mean that teachers are going to be here from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. It does not mean that students are going to be here from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. It is in spirit with flexible pathways, creating additional educational opportunities for students to attend our programs that may be after their homeschool bell day. Every one of our sending schools has a different start and end time. We have traditionally followed Mount Anthony's end and start time because we're on the campus, but it doesn't mean that we have to. And this may provide, by setting the school day, it may provide additional opportunities for students both within the Mount Anthony School District and other school districts to potentially attend classes both before and after their bell day. So it's a change in thinking. We've never done it before, but I've run it through the Agency of Education, both their general counsel and the CTE folks at the state. And said, your own district, set your hours and do what you need to do. In a nicer way, but it was supportive that we don't see why you can't do this. So I'm just asking the board to set the school instructional day from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Do I think it'll have a large impact in the next school year? I don't, but it will give me the flexibility to do something different when the opportunity arises.
Yeah, I'll move that.
Brad made the motion. Second. John, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all raise your right hand, please. Unanimous. Now we go into the superintendent's report.
All right. So my report tonight is generally has a single focus on school safety, as well as just some quick updates about the end of the school year. I do want to note that last Tuesday night was our annual awards banquet. There are a fair number of board members there, and I really appreciate the support, and so do the students. In your Dropbox is a copy of the awards banquet pamphlet that has the award winners in there. We presented perfect attendance this year, special recognition, technical excellence, and a variety of scholarships to multiple students. Because we were at full capacity, we hosted it at the Elks Lodge, and I want to thank the Elks Lodge for donating the hall and also their time to cook and set up and take down and all those things to help us. And for the first time, we were at full capacity, well over 200 people in attendance, and we had a very large induction with the National Technical Honor Society, and that continues to grow, which is a very good thing. A lot of those students were from the pre-law program, both from the Anthony campus and the Arlington campus, and so it was a great night. It was nice to be there. I just received the photo link from the photographer, and I will put that on our Facebook page for you can see that. And I can also send it out to the board. I haven't even had it book today yet. They just came in this afternoon. So congratulations to all the students that night. Great accomplishments for all those students. We also had a moment of recognition for Bruce Lee Clark, who, as you know, is retiring in just a few days, a couple weeks. And that is a bittersweet for, I think, everybody involved. And I'd like to thank the Banner for giving us nice coverage on the front page for the hiring of John Lamson for our new pre-law instructor. It was nice to have that article. Our sending schools are very happy that they know who's going to be teaching the program in the fall. That's important to kids and counselors and to administration to not come into the school year with an unknown, like who's going to be teaching us in August. And sometimes that's the case, and that's very hard for programs to absorb that unknown. And we have a known now, and so that's really nice to School is winding up very quickly. Seniors' last day was this past Friday. It was very eerily quiet here this morning in the hallways without the seniors here. But it's a couple hundred students less than you had before. And so, in the morning, the majority of our programs are seniors. And so it was a lot of semi-vacant classrooms this morning. It was very quiet here in the building. And then, of course, second block hit, and they're all full again with our underclassmen. But so graduation from Mount Anthony is this Friday. I want to say congratulations to our students from Mount Anthony, or excuse me, from Arlington and Burton Burn graduated last Friday evening, Arlington on Saturday, so those students are gone and done. And that's what happens with the Exeter. Peel off, Hoosick Falls is next week as well. And then we have a week or so with underclassmen, and then school's out on the 22nd for students. And the last week, the rest 4 days of professional development for our faculty and staff. Before you know it, it'll be the end of June. So that's what I have on that. The rest of it I'm going to turn to school safety. 2 months ago, Ricky had asked me to do a presentation to both the community and the school board on what we do here at the CDC and on this campus to help keep our students safe. And we were going to do it last month, but we wanted the focus last month to be on the students who travel to Puerto Rico. And, you know, that's going to be a hard act to follow today, but I'll do my best. So what I'm going to do is give you, the board and both the public, my general updates about what we've done here for school safety over the last year or so and a few months. So, give me just 1 second. Lost my spot. Got it right here. So I have to shuffle a lot of papers. So the first off, I want to say that while we are an independent school district, we do share a campus with Mount Anthony Union High School. And with a shared campus comes shared responsibility in protecting the students and staff and people that are in this building and on this campus. So this is a shared responsibility for Mount Anthony and the CDC. And I really want to emphasize that. We work together on this because we have a common facility and a common campus, although we may operate differently. So in January of 2017, we conducted a building safety assessment of the school, which evaluated our entry protocols, telephone communications, and camera monitoring, within our facility. We also provided a full-day training to our reception staff who control building access on how to assess and interact with suspicious or emotional individuals. That training was well received. I think Sandy can speak to that. It was an interesting day and it was good. We've also developed an emergency operations plan with CDC and MAU that defines the protocol for high and medium risk threats and hazards, in addition to lockdowns, shelter in place, stage 1, 2, and 3 evacuation procedures, and designated respective reunification sites in the event of a stage 3 evacuation. In our latest NEAS report, which is now in your Dropbox, we were noted for the exemplary emergency operations plan we have with Mount Anthony. The folks that came here recognize that is a very impressive document. It's fluid, we've practiced it, it's not just on paper. We talk about lockdowns, shelter in place, stage 1, 2, 3 evacuations. Lockdown is just that. It is that we are, there is a threat either outside in the community or inside the building, in which we activate the clear the halls, and teachers lock your doors, teachers go into their respective areas and wait. And that happens very quickly. I can tell you that within less than a minute, people are in a secure area within either their classroom or an adjacent classroom. A shelter in place, it's a little bit different. Shelter in places, there's no movement in the hallways. In other words, students and teachers would stay in classrooms. Perhaps an example of that is maybe there's a threat in the community and we need to lock the building more so than it already is. And I'll give you the example, a year and a half ago, there was a holdup at Harriers Credit Union, which is just a block away from us, and the direction was unknown travel of where this suspect was leaving. That's an outside threat, and so that may be an instance that we shelter in place where there's no true emergency inside the building, but we don't want anyone just coming in either. And stage 1, 2, and 3 evacuations. Stage 1 evacuation generally would be a fire alarm, where we empty the building out and meet in our respective areas outside. A stage 2 is simply when we would leave our stage 1 areas that are close to the building and be further away from the building. Our stage 2 areas on the football field, where all students and teachers meet. And it is just if we're going to be away from the building for more amount of time, or the threat is close to the building, perhaps the building's on fire and we don't need to be near it, we need to be somewhere else. And a stage 3 evacuation, which we practiced this spring with just the staff, is when we need to leave this campus and be to a different location, a safer location, where students can be picked up by buses and parents and relatives and be supervised. And our stage 3 evacuation site and reunification site for all of our students, irregardless of what district they come from, is the Bennington Fire Facility on River Street. We practiced that. I think we learned from that. There's plenty of space there for students. You're talking about evacuating close to 1,000 students and a few hundred staff. So it's a lot of people to move. We did it, and we're going to train with it for in the fall with students. The building, this building and the MAU building is locked with video monitoring on every entrance on this campus. So I want to explain that in a little bit. Is that 2 years ago, the school district, MAU school district, invested in fobbing the exterior doors. And so they were strategic doors, all the exterior doors that students use to enter the building. 2 years ago, those doors were open most of the time. 2 to 3 years ago, they were open most of the time, and there was free flow of traffic of people coming in and out of the building. That is not true anymore. The first year, took a little bit of time for people to get used to. Their doors are locked all the time, and you need to use your fob to get in, and you need to stop at the front entrance and check in and sign in before you're buzzed in. You know, and it took the students a little while to get used to that you're just not going to go out the courtyard and walk up the front steps and come in the front door. No, you got to stay in the building. And so, like habits, things take time to change, and people, I think, are fairly used to it. Students are used to it, faculty and staff are used to it at this point. And people ask, are we going to get more fobs? They're so easy to get in and out, like, of our building, and when we need to. And so, yes, we're going to eventually. They're very expensive, but everyone carries them. We are able to, through security logs, see who comes in the building and out. Do we routinely monitor that on a daily basis? No, only if there's an issue. If someone loses a fob on like a key, we can immediately disable it or enable it for whoever. We can give door-specific access, perhaps just the front door, just the side entry, or whatever it may be. So it's all customized and controlled. MAU has the same exact system because, again, we're a shared campus and we have shared responsibility. While they are separate systems, they are still tied together. So, for example, if I'm walking out back towards the East Campus or anywhere like that, I can simply take my fob and enter the back door by the science wing. So can the MAU administration can also come through, where not everyone has that access. So that's kind of nice in that respect, and it has made things a lot easier. So at each entrance is also a security camera. The CDC has 37 security cameras that record 24 hours a day. On motion. We have infrared and night vision on them, and every area of the building is covered, both inside and out, particularly entranceways, so we can see who's coming and going if needed out of the building. Also, the CDC, this board has authorized to appropriate funds to ensure a police presence at the school 5 days a week. There is an officer on this campus 5 days a week, whether it is here at the CDC, it is Mount Anthony, or both. There's an officer, at least one officer on this campus 5 days a week to provide security and presence in our building. They're not here all day. They're here between 4 and 5 hours at different times of the day, or different times of the week. And so it's nice to have them here. We also have appropriated funding for the next academic year to purchase an identikit visitor and substitute monitoring system for the school that enables the reception staff to issue photo identification tags for visitors and substitutes, in addition to issuing students tardy and early dismissal passes. This has already been implemented at a couple of the SVSU schools. Mount Anthony has put it in and tested it out and has found what works and what doesn't work, and we intend to put that system in this summer so that folks visiting the campus have the same experience as checking in at Mount Anthony as they would at the CDC, so that in all of these schools that are part of the SVSU, so students, parents, the community knows what to expect when they come into a building. We also have a joint district level safety committee that meets monthly in joint safety teams with Mount Anthony, the CDC, and the SVSU. We also developed a protocol and have procedures in place to issue orders of no trespass for individuals of concern and notify our reception staff of their identity. Our school also monitors monthly evacuation and containment drills to educate the school community of what to do in case of an emergency and to identify areas of improvement. State mandates that we alternate our months. 1 month is a evacuation drill or a fire drill. The next month is a lockdown or containment drill. That is mandated by state statute. So 1 month evacuation, 1 month lockdown, 1 month evacuation, 1 month lockdown. And the evacuation must occur within the first 30 days of the school year, and essentially every 30 days thereafter. We also, both at Mount Anthony and at the CDC, we have direct communications with the Bennington Police Department via radio. If we need, we have the ability to radio dispatch directly from our location, so we don't necessarily have to dial through the 911 system or through the main dispatch number. We can call directly to the PD. Not a lot of people know that, but there's a distinct advantage to be able to pick up a radio and have instant communications with the PD. The officers that are here, they also have our local communications channel in their radios, which is the ones that we use as administration and school security and maintenance to talk back and forth about different issues. So they have that capacity as well, which makes it nice. The other piece that we talk about in the response of school tragedies and school shootings and all those things that we don't want to talk about, one of the things that we are very fortunate in this community to have is that for Vermont, Bennington is not a rural community. We might as well be urban. During the school day, you have a fully staffed police department that can respond here, if they're not already here, in a very short amount of time. You have a fully staffed courthouse, which is just across the street, fully staffed by the sheriff's office. In the event of an emergency, they could also be here very quickly. You have the state police barracks that are less than 5 to 6 miles away from here. We have a fire response facility and emergency facilities blocks away from this institution. And that is not true in all areas of Vermont, where in some schools, you could be waiting half an hour, 45 minutes for a police officer to show up on that scene, just by the very nature of the rural communities. We don't have that here in Bennington. We're very fortunate to have that. We have a strong relationship with the police department and local emergency responders. They know our buildings, they're here, we know them by first name, our students know them by name, and it works very well. And I can't say that for every school, so we're very fortunate in that. And we take safety and security very seriously for our students and our faculty and staff. We are extra vigilant about what we do. Everyone has to stop at the front door. The front doors are locked. You can come in the vestibule here, but you can't go any further. You've got to stop in the office. You've got to sign in with Sandy or Tiffany or whoever else is in the front office. Be issued a visitor identification badge before you're let in the building. You got to sign out of the building. The same process happens at Mount Anthony. Well, they have the Identikit system that we're going to have. It's still the same procedure. This is a brief overview of our security. We take it very seriously, and it's not an event, it's something we do every day. And it's become very ingrained in what we do, from making sure that exterior doors are locked and maintaining the system, making sure that our security cameras are recording and that we can retrieve footage, and we do it every day. And it's very important that we do. And I think that we are ahead of the curve in response to a lot of schools. And from what I hear, what I understand, that it has not been implemented in other schools yet due to funding issues, resources, et cetera. We are very fortunate to have the support of this board and our community in securing our school district. And so I'd be happy to answer questions that I feel that I can answer for the public about our security. If anyone has questions.
On these fobs, Mike?
Yes.
Do they have the date and the time that person, they do? Okay.
Yeah, so when a fob is passed by one of the readers, a signal is sent back to a server that has the database on it that says, this number on the back of this is authorized to open that door. This number on the back of this is tied to an employee. So this is tied to me. So every time I've swiped this fob, on any door is logged. Time, whether I was entering or exiting, and so that can tie in with both the time settings on our cameras, et cetera, in the event that we need it. And like I said, these are all computer controlled. They can be disabled, enabled in seconds. And every faculty and staff member has one of these on the campus.
Have you had any issues with students sharing their fobs with others? I mean, I know you have a camera, so you can go, hey, that's not so and so.
Yeah, so students don't have any fobs, it's just faculty and staff.
Okay.
Students need to be buzzed into the building when school is in session, and it's just become very routine. You know, I think Sandy, our famous line we joke about in the office is, one door is the one that activates, and we put a weird sign that says pull, and Sandy's famous yelling, pull on that door, And
Stand at the door, they wait for it to open.
right, it's not a magic door, but so it's kind of become a running joke within the office. We'll have Sandy pull. I'm like, oh, someone new who hasn't been here before, and so it's.
I think the warmer it gets, the more that door sticks, because.
Yeah, it's getting harder to pull.
She's on the other side holding it.
And so, Rob, we've seen a downturn in is, when the doors were first locked in the facility, it was a big change for students. Like, what do you mean I can't get in anymore after a certain time of the day? And so, I meant they had to walk around the building and come in. They couldn't just come in anymore. And initially we saw kids, letting their friends in and think, wait, and we just don't see much of that anymore because it's become part of our culture that this is what we expect. And that you don't just let your friend in the back, the side door, the back door, whatever it is. You got to come through the main entrances. That's just what it is.
If a door is propped open, there's an alarm, correct? It's triggered?
Yes, in some respect there is, yes. That's what I have for my report to the board on our school safety.
I'd just like to add 2 cents.
3 cents.
All right, I'll give you 3 cents then. I don't believe any school safety program is worth a damn if you don't include the background checks that I've been beating the drum for the last 20 years. Reader's Digest put out an article back in 2000, and that was the beginning of my crusade, which, as you can tell, didn't go very well because I haven't gotten very far with it. But the whole article was about who's teaching your children without a sufficient background check, and it always comes down to one key ingredient: fingerprints. And even today, after all this 20 years, and my God, we're a technical school, you'd think that we'd come up with something by now. Matter of fact, I bet you that fob you could put your fingerprint to do something with it. I don't understand why it takes us 6 months to get fingerprint background. And everybody seems to think, well, teachers, ESP workers, they're all professionals. I don't doubt that. I think they're great people. They're doing a great job. It's not what I want to do. But still, shouldn't we have a background check on everybody who comes in here, and we know that before they set one foot in this door, that they don't have some record of being a pedophile or something, domestic abuse or whatever? To me, it just seems absurd that we would allow anybody in here for even 1 minute who has that kind of a background. The other part of the article that troubles me, and I don't know if we'll ever get around it, but when I was on the board at another school, we had a teacher that they found to be let go because of acts on becoming of a teacher. Now, how he is tried is before the board. 5 board members review it and say, do we want to keep this teacher? We decided to let him go. Arbitration brought him back in, and the board got a gag order to never say nothing about it. Well, the Reader's Digest refers to this as pass the trash. This same teacher, I'm not saying if he did or didn't, could go to another state where they know nothing about him, never knowing that he ever had this accusation, and he can go on and live and I know there's people saying, well, he should have had, he had his case and we lost, but it's just not the point. He should have a background check and he should have fingerprints so that we know exactly where these people are coming from. And if you say it can't happen, it did happen. Mount Anthony several years ago hired a ESP worker, and he was in school teaching, and he had his background came back where he had problems with his record. So,
Is that something, the delay on our end, or is that just how long it takes for whomever processes background checks to return the information?
I believe we do our job and we do it quickly and efficiently. I believe it has to do with fingerprints going upstate. I don't, my guy can pick up your Apple phone and put your fingerprint on there and get in and out. I can't believe that in this technically advanced world that we live in, that it takes us 6 months to get fingerprint background checks.
If they're from out of state, are we allowed to call the other state? If they're from New York, for instance, can we get a background? Because I know background checks just cover Vermont. You've told us this, right?
So fingerprint checks, so there's a distinction between background checks and fingerprint
Correct.
checks. So what we, as a school, do initially is a background check. We have an account with the Vermont Criminal Information Center, VCIC, where we put in some of the information, and it spits it back immediately. Do they have any Vermont convictions? But a fingerprint check, the person needs to go down to the sheriff's office, make an appointment, and have their prints taken that then are sent against the state and the national FBI database for any hits. It's called a hit. And that can take time. I've seen it take months. I've also seen it take 3 to 4 weeks. It depends on I can't tell you all the factors of why it takes some are 3 weeks and some are 6 weeks. I know that if someone has lived out of state, it takes longer. And I agree with Ricky that I don't know why it can be faster in 2018. It should be. I don't have an answer to why a person can't go down and have prints returned within a day or two. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. So.
And again, excuse me?
Are we done?
No. Like I said, I've been beating this banner, and unfortunately, any school safety that we come up with is great, but it doesn't seal the deal without those fingerprint background, because some of the biggest bank heists were from within. Anyway, now we're done.
Move adjourned.
We can't adjourn because we thought we were going to go into executive session, or you had enough?
Oh, I thought we were done.
I'd like to go into executive session, and it's going to be about school safety. I'd like a motion to go into executive session. Franny made the motion.
Second.
Ed seconded. All in favor? Let's move on.